Ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrestling classic here, and I just want to do this short intro to before we actually start the actual podcast. I just want to say it was such an honor and privilege for me to sit down with the Bollywood boys, just like it was to sit down with Scotty Mack and Tony Baroni and any of the ECCW stars that let me sit down with them and record a podcast. It was an honor, it was a privilege. I hope everyone enjoys this podcast. You get to know a lot about the Bollywood boys, Gurv and Harv Sihra. They've been tearing it up for 8 years. They've worked in India. They've worked all across Canada. They've worked in the United States. Um, Currently, still the GFW Global Force Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Not too sure what's going on with Global Force, but they're still the tag team champions. They are participants in the WWE's Cruiserweight Classic, which will air later on this month, which is huge for them. You're going to hear all about it during the podcast. They're ECCW originals. They tear it. I've been seeing them tear it up here for years now, and Gurv and Harv are just two really great guys, and I want everyone to be able to listen to this and hear their journey and what they had to do to get where they are, because they're finally getting the respect they deserve on a global presence now with the Cruiserweight Classic and GFW and stuff like that, and to hear like the sacrifices you have to make and what it takes to actually make it in this business from two guys that did whatever it takes to make it in this business because it was their dream and they want to live their dream. It's huge. So I hope everyone listens to this. I hope everyone enjoys it. I tried to unedit. I tried not to edit as much as I could because I feel like you guys should hear it exactly how it is, and should hear it the passion in these guys' voice and the love for what they do. Like they love what they do and they wouldn't change it for anything in the world. And that's how everyone should feel about anything. And the last thing I just want to say before we go to the podcast is congratulations to Brock Lesnar for defeating Mark Hunt yesterday at UFC 200. That's huge for the WWE. There was some SummerSlam promotion on there. He also talked about SummerSlam in his press conference after the fight. He's facing Randy Orton, which is a dream match of mine since Lesnar returned in 2012. And it's a big deal because if Lesnar lost, it could have really hurt the WWE when it comes to Lesnar's character, but he won, so it just makes Lesnar seem more of an unstoppable beast. Now, does that hurt any chance of Randy Orton actually winning and beating Lesnar, or beating Lesnar without fan backlash? I don't think so, but only time can tell, and we'll see. So congratulations to Brock Lesnar, man. He proved that he is one of the most dominant forces, not only in the world of professional wrestling, but in the world today. Now, back to the Bollywood boys. If you are the Bollywood boys will be in Vancouver if you are gonna go to the Commodore Ballroom for Ballroom Brawl July 16th. So that's another thing. I just want to make sure that you guys remember that you can still look for tickets on Ticketmaster. I'll put the link in the information section on my website and also on SoundCloud. And I appreciate all you guys that listen to this, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys leave some feedback. I hope you guys go out and follow the Bollywood Boys on Instagram and Twitter and social media and all that. Follow them because they deserve it. They deserve everything they've achieved so far, and the sky's the limit for them. Yeah, enjoy the podcast. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Wrestling Classic here, and I am here today with ECCW's very own GFW Tag Team Champions, Cruiserweight Classic participants, and the Bollywood boys. Yeah,
I felt like there was one more thing in there, and then you.
I was going to, and then I totally
put one more thing.
I totally forgot what it was.
You have to say something now. You can't just leave it hanging.
I don't know.
Two really good-looking, handsome
Vancouver's very own, the Bollywood boys. What are you guys' nicknames again? It's a Golden Line and the Bollywood Dawn.
There you have it, buddy.
There you go, right? Cool. So I did my research. You don't just come and do this stuff without doing some research. So yeah, their popularity is growing. Everybody's starting to know who the Bollywood boys are. I guess the most normal way to start this would be, how did you guys start? Like, wrestling. What like, where are you guys from and how did you guys start wrestling?
Well, first of all, we grew up watching it just like most kids do. Watching Monday Night Raw and WWE Superstars on Saturday afternoons. It's the same story that has been told many times before. I'm Gurv here. Was started training in the Hart Family Dungeon in Calgary in 2004. In the summer of 2004, went down there. This is before they actually sold the house. So I got there 2.5 months prior to that, and spent 2 months down there, learned the basics down in the dungeon. And at that time, there wasn't like a school. I know we did our research, but I couldn't find a school, and there was no Landstorm Academy. That was a couple years later. So went down to Calgary to train with the Hearts, and came back here in the fall of 2004 and started up with the ECCW, and that's where Harv and I pretty much started.
When you were at the dungeon, did you train with anyone particularly, or that anyone would probably know?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I've told the story before too, and I'll tell it again. Obviously, Harry was down there, TJ and Natty, they were down there, and Randy Myers.
Yeah.
But my very first wrestling bump ever was from TJ Wilson.
Yeah.
It was a snap mirror, and Bruce Hart got him to snap mirror me over and start chain wrestling with me. And
how was that?
That was pretty cool actually, because again, like I hadn't taken a bump on the canvas at all at that time, so that was my first day as well. So remember my dad dropped me off, and I sat around for a while watching the guys who have been down in the class for a few months, and Bruce is like, all right, TJ, get Gurv in there and show.
Were you nervous? Was it like, because I always assume like if you're gonna start wrestling, like taking bumps, you're probably like,
what's funny, because the year I went down, like 2 years before that, they had the Tough Enough show. So I was watching a lot of the Tough Enough and programming, and I remember watching the guys bump and how they were breaking their falls. But until you actually take a bump, you don't know how it feels. And
well, that's what I always say, because a lot of people always make their assumptions of how things should be done. Like, oh, that move was botched. I'm like, well, half of us have never taken a bump before. So how do we know how a move
it took a while
botched?
to actually, there's an art to breaking your fall and getting back up and taking that bump again. So obviously that now it's just immune to it. But the very first bump, it was just like, whoa, that hurt.
So you go to Calgary, and then you go there for about 2.5 months or so on. You work at the Hart Dungeon. You come back here, and you find out about ECCW. How did you guys find out about ECCW? Did you guys know from before? Or?
I think because I was going to join Gurv. Go to the dungeon. I think Gurv talked to Bruce, and I was going to go down in the winter of 2004, I think. But the house got sold, and so I started making calls around. And I was going to initially go to Toronto. There's a Rob Fuego school out there. Then I finally found ECCW and talked to Michelle Starr. And I felt like, okay, well, I stay at home. I don't have to go out. Plus, Starr's, I always figure Starr's been around. And if you go across Canada, you say Michelle Starr, people know who Michelle Starr is. And so on that basis alone, I was like, okay, that's just a good place to start. And I was really happy with everything that the training wise that we received down in the in-pain asylum. It was in Wally, and Wally's like that. It's like I don't know how you're gonna explain.
I don't know if people like the people that don't live at Wally's like
it's like
there's the hood, and then there's like the depths of the hood.
That's
like, you know what it is?
It was like literally like needles everywhere at the SkyTrain station.
It's a rough neighborhood.
It is. They're trying to clean it up.
You wouldn't be at that time, like 10 years ago. You wouldn't be caught walking alone.
And we have evening classes,
like that's not where you want to be at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And
it was across from a SkyTrain station, the Gateway SkyTrain station. So trying to hop on and hop off, and at night it
was anybody with you in that initial class that you guys still wrestle with today?
Well, actually, that initial class
was packed.
Right? Yeah, there's a lot of stand-ups. We had Kyle O'Reilly in there.
Oh, sweet. Yeah,
he's doing some amazing work.
For sure.
Overseas. Nicole Matthews. Obviously we all know her track record and
for sure
her resume. And you had
who was training you guys at the time? I'm guessing Michelle Starr,
Scotty Mack, Vance Nevada.
Those were the three key trainers for us at that time.
So in those first couple of like years of training, what like with like obviously you trained at the dungeon and then also together you guys trained at ECW. Was there anything that really like what made you guys keep going? Because obviously a lot of people get into wrestling, they start training, they do it, and a lot of people quit.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, this is not for me. I don't think I can do this, or I need to get a real job or something. Like they don't follow the dreams fully. Like what made you guys stick to it at that point? Because I think by the 2-year mark, if around that point or like a year mark, if you're gonna keep doing this or you're gonna be like.
It sounds cliche, but it's the truth for us. I mean, passion, and this is all we've ever wanted to do.
And I think a big thing is like the first 5 years, Gurv and I traveled a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was kind of, for us, it was kind of cool, like getting in a car and traveling across Canada.
Like, you hear all the road stories.
Well, the thing is, when we were training and starting out, we were reading books that were released by Edge, and reading stories about the Hell Tour and going to the Maritimes. And then,
so being able to do it yourself.
Exactly, and then when we had the opportunity to finally go do all those infamous tours like the Death Tour and go to the Maritimes and traveling pretty much across Canada, we were like, yeah, man, this is what we wanted to do for the
except you weren't.
It started becoming real, right?
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, wait a minute, like this is actually happening.
Yeah, it's like this is what they did, so this is what we have to do. Yeah, we're Canadians.
Exactly, and it's a little bit harder when you're from Canada. Like I know there's a lot of top talent from Canada right now. If you look at the WWE at this very moment, where there was a huge gap, where there didn't seem like there was that much. But I think like Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Jericho's obviously still there, but Jericho, and the list goes on.
Guys like Jericho, Edge, Christian, reading their stories, and they're the ones.
Well, now that we're actually talking about like Edge, Christian, Jericho and stuff, there was a picture on you guys' Instagram with Edge.
Yeah.
And you guys went and did a hike with him.
Yeah.
I know it's a little bit off topic from where we're heading, but how was that? What was that all about? I know. What can you share about that?
Well, we're good friends with Paul Lazenby, who's been really helpful in our career.
He's a mentor of ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's definitely guided us in the right direction over the years.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things, he was in town, and Paul was like, you guys could learn a thing or two, hanging around with a legitimate veteran, which is hard to come by in today's independent scene where guys been wrestling for 10 years, quote unquote, but have like maybe 5 matches under their belt. So like to learn from a guy like that, that's where it came about.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, being again Canadian, we were trying to always somehow touch base, connect with somebody like Edge, right? Because he went through the same path we did to get to where he is, or to get to the WWE. And again, like Harv was saying, Paul Lazenby was like, listen, you guys are passionate, you guys want to learn, and here's an opportunity to do that. And we're really thankful for Paul to give us that.
Was there anything you guys got from Edge that you kept?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing I remember him saying, he was like, you've already accomplished your dream. And this is 2 years ago. He said, you're already wrestling. We were talking about, like, we feel like we're kind of like, haven't been noticed, haven't made it. But I remember him saying, well, you've already accomplished it because you're doing it. And I remember just putting in that perspective, like, if tomorrow.
A lot of people talk about, like you said, a lot of people talk about training, wanting to become wrestlers, but once they get into it, maybe it's not for them. It's like, hey,
so too raw for life.
At this point, we were already doing it for 8 years, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, you're right. We've been busting our ass for 8 years trying to make it happen.
So you guys have been doing this for 8 years. And I know a lot of, let's fill people in, because within this 8 years, you guys have, I think, have done a lot more than people really know. There's probably people that are actually even in Vancouver that like mostly know you for ECCW, but might not know that you guys worked in India or worked for GFW, and and I think right now you guys are getting the most exposure with the whole Cruiserweight Classic thing that's going on. What are some of the things you guys did that you think people might not know?
A lot of the camps. We've traveled a lot. I remember my first 2 years of wrestling, I actually counted. I did 57,000 kilometers by car.
Really?
Coast. And that's a lot of driving. So we've done all across Canada. We've done the Harley race camps in Eldon, Missouri. Did a trip to England.
How was England? You guys wrestle in England?
Well, England I went on my own.
Okay.
That was fun. I got the chance to work with the Knight family, Paige's parents.
How was that?
They were amazing, great family. We got to stay. They really took care of me. And it was England's awesome. There's a lot of money to be made out there.
The wrestling scene in England seems to be booming right now. Like I kind of see these weird trends being on Instagram. Like from like 2014 now, like there's a whole point where like Ring of Honor and Combat Zone became like this really popular thing, and everyone wanted to know about it. Then there was this whole point, like last year, when New Japan Pro Wrestling became a really popular thing. Not that it always hasn't been popular, but I mean popular here in like the West Coast. Like everybody wanted to know about Nakamura, like Okada, etc., etc. And I feel like right now we're getting a lot of that. Progress wrestling is a popular thing.
Yeah.
Revolution Pro is a popular. Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre, like Marty Scurll, like that's what everyone wants to know about. So like England's booming right now. So I think that's pretty cool. Like you have to go over there and work down there. So.
No, I mean, going back to the original question about, what we've done, and, people, we take pride in knowing that we got to work in India. And, that was a huge break for us. I think that doing the work in India for Rinka King really put us on the map, and there's nobody to thank.
So how
Jeff Jarrett, and he gave us that opportunity. So, doing that and then doing the stuff with GFW. So
how's you guys' relationship with Jeff Jarrett? 'Cause I've seen him give you guys a lot of like really awesome opportunities, like with Rinka King and now GFW. Like
he's always believed in us, man.
I saw you guys work together here, and I think it was the Agriplex maybe a year ago, and while he was still a part of the Bullet Club, because I remember he was wearing his Bullet Club jacket. But like, what advice has he given you guys, and how's that relationship?
It's a great relationship. I think again, like you said, he supported us. He discovered us.
Yeah.
I mean, before we were the Bollywood Boys, we were the Bollywood Lions doing this, work for ECCW, and he saw our YouTube video and gave us that opportunity to come to India, work on a huge platform.
Yeah, you guys worked with who? Like, I watched a few clips not too long ago. There was like you guys had a little thing with Scotty Steiner. How was that? Like working with veterans like Scott Steiner?
That was. I mean, you're working Scott Steiner, and you're working Scott Steiner.
Oh, what do you mean? Like, was it different?
No, well, not that in the sense. It's he's Scott Steiner. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And we were really young at that time.
Yeah.
I was like 22, and
yeah.
So like it's nerve wracking, man. I don't think I've ever been that nervous.
Well, not only that, but like you gotta keep in mind, this is our first time being introduced to TV wrestling.
Yeah.
That TV, how we're filming and knowing the camera angles and working the hard cam, and we were learning all this on the fly. So, like you said, working with someone like Steiner it's a good learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
Worked with, got to tag with Mickey James, got to work with the Bears, and so many names that Sanjay was amazing.
Like for younger fans, like I'm pretty sure even like Luke Gallows was over there.
Yeah,
right?
Luke was really good to us too. Yeah,
he was the first person we met in Pune.
How was that?
It was good, man. Right off the bat, we hit it, and the guy's got a great sense of humor and just a really cool cat.
So like when you guys do go on the road and stuff, who do you guys usually travel with? Like.
We're lucky that we were usually together, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
because you've done stuff separately. Because I know you were in India for a bit, right?
Well, that was different. I did some movie work in Bollywood, so
yeah,
that was separate. Yeah.
Because I just recently watched. I think it was Halloween Hell 2014. Something. You wrestled Nelson Creed.
Yeah, that was when Harv was in India. But again, like Harv was saying, he was getting an opportunity to do stuff from India. So why not?
Do you find it different when you guys are teaming together rather than working singles?
Well, we know our money maker. Right now, as a tag team.
Yeah, for sure.
Together, I feel we're larger than life.
How'd you guys come up with the gimmick, the Bollywood Boys?
It was initially I told the story actually on the Cruiserweight Classic.
I saw that, the bracketology yesterday.
I mean, I'll tell it again. I was a huge fan of Eddie Gurv when Eddie was champion. For me, I remember, I was like, okay, if Eddie became champion, I was like, we got a chance now, right? And I always thought, like, hey, man, let's do this cool gimmick if we could make something, work with the Indian, Indian community and all that. And I was always wanting to get into Bollywood movies. For me, I always wanted to get into acting. And so I just felt there was, like, a natural transition for me to be Bollywood Harv Sihra. And Gurv was doing the Golden Lion thing, kind of trying to find himself at that time. And then I think...
most people don't know that the first couple of years... We were not a tag team at all. We were both single, and again, like the first 3 years you're still learning, but we were like, you know what, we're not gonna get anywhere if we're just going separate ways. We gotta do this together. And like Harv was saying, we wanted to do something that hadn't been done before, and we didn't want to be the stereotypical.
I think we tried Sihra Brothers.
Yeah.
I think that we initially, we were just kind of like the Sihra Brothers, and we had the Sparkle and Shine theme song. So we weren't doing. It was nothing to what we were now.
The tassels were always there.
Yeah.
The tassels.
Why'd you guys want tassels?
I always wanted tassels.
The Rockers.
The Rockers?
No,
okay.
well, because I was a huge Randy Savage fan also.
Yeah.
And so my first gear was all Randy Savage.
Yeah.
If you find a picture of me, it's the leather
That's
jacket.
dope. He's my favorite of all time, so I can...
Harv was, like, really influenced by Savage.
Yeah, I dig it, man, totally. If you, like, go on Instagram, search the hashtag Hulku, and it's all my Savage posts, and I'm pretty sure I have this really, like, big problem with that. Regardless if I spam or not, there has to be at least one Savage post.
And to be honest, I was more like little straight laced. I'm like, I don't know, man, like, tassels, not for me. Just because I was more like the serious one.
Like a shooter, right?
Yeah, and Harv was more like, no, man, we need character, we need personalities, right? So, and then now I couldn't see her. I can't picture ourselves without tassels.
There's a picture, I gotta show it to you. There's a picture of me, like, I pretty much look just like Randy Savage.
That's awesome.
Like, it was probably my first match or second match.
I would have probably done the same thing.
But it's cool. Like, over the years, I've morphed into
the jacket.
You adapt into your what you take from that, and you slowly adapt into your own self, right?
Like, and now it's our own. Yeah.
Now we have remnants of like old wrestlers. Like there's a little bit of Sean, a little bit of Eddie,
there's a pink and black.
It's funny. Jared calls us the the Indian Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, so
because you got that going on too.
Right, so we got again, like take a little bit from everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, for myself personally, like, both of us actually, Sean and Brett were the two major guys growing up.
Yeah.
Which is hence the pink and black. That's our homage to the Harps, right? And then Harv with his the Shawn Michaels, flair that he carries around, and the Rock, obviously. For you, if you see, I got that cut off, like the calf boots, but they're covered by tassels. So.
Well, everyone's influenced by somebody,
you gotta take
right?
a little bit from everybody,
and then make it your own, right? Yeah. The music, obviously, I don't know how many people have seen you guys live. I know, obviously, in different places you have to use different music because obviously copyright issues and stuff. But I know at least here at ECCW, like, when your guys' music hits, the place is alive. And I'm not gonna like shoot it and be like, oh, everyone's jumping up and down, but like majority of the crowd is like they get excited when you guys' music hits. So you hear that initial sense of pop.
You gotta keep in mind, it's just not the music; it's how we deliver it.
I know when you guys if that music playing, you come walking out like a stoic, like Great Khali or something, then obviously nothing's gonna happen. But
I mean, we can make any Indian type of song work.
Even when we were down in Florida now, I mean, obviously we weren't using that song.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's what I figured.
But we made it work, and it popped the production too.
Yeah.
But then obviously the music is a big part of it.
Yeah.
The entrance. That's another thing.
And, like, how did you guys come up with the entrance? Like the whole gimmick together. Like, you have to like.
Yeah, that was actually cool because when we were in India doing the Ring of King stuff, Dutch Mantel pulled us over and he's like, we're gonna go over this entrance with you guys, and he had, we had the backup dancers, so he made sure that those 90 seconds, 2 minutes were our 90 seconds and 2 minutes. He's like, that right there, from the time you get through that curtain down to the ring, is your money maker. I remember Mickey James telling us that. Harv was right there, and
Yeah, I remember Mickey James saying, she's like, if you guys ever make money in this business because of that.
So they're like, just be yourself. And again, Harv.
Obviously, they're like, you're good workers, but there's a lot of good workers in the world.
Yeah.
And
you stand out.
Especially for TV wrestling. I mean, that's the cool thing, again, nod to Jeff and Dutch Mantel. Because before we did Ring of King, we were the Bollywood Lions, but we were not dancing.
We were shy to dance. We're like,
maybe we throw
no, for sure. You gotta break that comfort zone, right? You gotta step out of your comfort zone.
Throw one hand in the air, but when they produced that stuff, they made like, no, dance.
Yeah.
Dance, and we're like, okay, this feels awkward, and it's like, when you have buy a pair of jeans, the first time you put them on, they're like not very comfortable. And after you're like, these are the greatest jeans I've ever had. Right?
Yeah.
And so now it's like, I need to dance. Yeah. It's like my warm up. I don't do push ups in the back.
Like, doesn't it feel weird now? Like, if you were to walk out there not dancing, you'd probably feel weird.
In Orlando, when we were doing our
the call-in thing, right?
Yeah, and then we just did what we would do at the RCC, the Commodore Ballroom, and like
the boys pop.
Yeah, the boys pop, and there's like a Bollywood chant if you watch it back.
Yeah,
and that was our first time being introduced to a NXT crowd or environment.
Now I remember the part I forgot to say in the intro when I was introducing you guys, because I always get nervous when I first do these after a long time. That's what I was like, oh, blah blah. But Ass-Kickin Butter Chicken. Where did the butter chicken?
No, you got it backwards.
Oh, Butterchicken Asskickin. Yeah. My bad. Yes. Where did the butter chicken come from?
That's Gurv.
It's just one of those.
Because that is huge. Like, I can't before, because I used to come to ECW, and now I realize they also used to go to those ASW shows when I was a little bit younger. But
it all started with the butter chicken thing.
The butter chicken chants are real, man.
That's organic. We didn't go.
They are real. Like, so they were chanting butter chicken. I was like, what the? Like, one of the first times I came, like, what the fuck's going on?
The way the butter chicken chant started was we were heels.
Yeah.
And the crowd used to kind of like tease us, saying butter chicken. We'd be like, no, we don't want butter chicken, because we were heels.
Yeah.
And then we turned faces, and the butter chicken chant became our chant.
Well, the thing was, because we embraced the chant, we didn't turn on the fans, and we didn't.
Well, we were like,
and it would just be. It took a life on its own, and now it's like.
And then the Butterchicken Asskickin thing Gurv threw in one of the global.
Yeah, global interviews. We were just cutting a promo for global TV.
Yeah.
And they're like, just say something, and then I'm like, yeah, we're gonna bring that Butterchicken Asskickin.
Yeah.
And it just became one of our.
It was just kind of carried on.
No, because I'm like, that's like. It's pretty, like, they're like, you guys have shirts that say it too, right?
Yeah.
And even that, we have the other catchphrase, we're not the type of guys tell you we told you.
That I noticed too. When you guys did that for me, I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool. And then I started watching some of you guys' other promos, I'm like, oh, that's a thing.
And it's funny, and it's cool, it's like, it's indie wrestling.
Yeah.
And it's like, we've done about a handful of videos, but like, if we say it in the crowd, people will pick up on it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how we have some amazing fans, to be honest. That
for sure.
I would say they made so much noise where that's how WWE kind of like heard about us. Like, they made so much noise in the RCC that, okay, let's see what's going on here.
And, Chris Jericho, I remember once saying that if you can get over in a
high school
gym or like a community center,
you can get over.
You can get over anywhere.
Which is true, right?
Because you pretty much taking that and you're bringing it onto a bigger scale.
And with the WWE machine behind you, it's a lot that could happen.
So how, I know this, I'm pretty sure is the part everyone wants to know. We might as well just jump right into it. I know there's probably a lot of stuff I missed and we could still talk about, but I won't say this will be the only time we'll probably do this. Down in Orlando, the Cruiserweight Classic, how was it down there? How was the experience? It was just fully, I know you guys have worked a little bit, obviously, with Ring of King, which is tied to TNA and GFW, obviously, and then ECCW is your home here, and then to actually go to work for the WWE for the Cruiserweight Classic down in there, Orlando, you guys went to the Performance Center, which they try to sell to people for $2,500 just to get a tour in. Yeah. How was it?
It was just awesome. I think it's hard to put into words, but it's the best part of it was, you grew up watching guys like Eddie and Brett and Sean who are known for their work, and to be brought down for your work. We didn't do a camp, we didn't do reality TV. And in today's day and age, when last time a lot of people get signed, just to be brought, hey, Bollywood Boys, come down, show us what you got.
So you don't have to go into detail because obviously you can't talk about everything, but how did they reach out to you guys?
Well, we've been exchanging emails, just
you do, right? You do, right? Stay connected.
Yeah, stay connected, sending your stuff. Got an email from the office saying, hey, we got this idea. We'd like to bring you guys down based on your in-ring ability. We're like, awesome. So, it was just something that obviously we couldn't talk about, but just getting that initial email and getting the work started for it was surreal in itself. And once you get down there, I remember Harv and I talking the night before, and we looked at each other. We were in the hotel room. We were like, bro, man, we made it this far after years of thinking, could we, will we, always knowing that, we believed in ourselves. Yeah. And, I remember Harv and I just saying to each other, at the end of the day, we're about to work for WWE, and no one can ever take that away from us. Yeah. We're going to get a chance to live our dream, and nobody out there can ever take that away from us.
Yeah. I had a moment before I went out for my match. Yeah. Standing behind the curtain, I looked around, I saw Regal there. And
that must have been surreal,
and I just remember telling myself, I'm like, good job. Yeah. I don't do that at all. Oh, hey.
You don't pat yourself on the back.
And I allow myself to do that.
You always go.
Because I'm like, you know what? Man, there's so many wrestlers in the world. Man, we're here. We made it. And no one can ever take it.
That's the one time you need to sit back and be like, okay.
Always.
And we had a lengthy conversation with Edge before we went. And honestly, man, he told us, when you guys are down there, embrace it and soak in every second of it. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what we did. When we were there was a couple of times I had to pinch myself. Just before we were in Gorilla, and just seeing everything, I'm like, just
you dream
live
about this,
right? For the moment, man. I mean, this is something we've dreamed about.
The entrance must have felt special and everything.
That's just before I went to the curtain, I'm like, wow, good job. I remember telling myself that because
we grew up watching WrestleMania 12 with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and
we're the rest of the same ring now.
Yeah, here we are, about to get in and just do our thing.
Without spoiling anything, obviously, because it's still going on the bracketology was yesterday. You guys both had your matches already. Who'd you wrestle?
They're promoting us with I Got No Dark.
And who are you wwrestling?
Drew Gulak.
Alright, that's stuff to look forward to because people
and that's
in a weird sense for independent wrestling fans, for hardcore independent wrestling fans. These are dream matches for them.
The beauty of this whole tournament is the fact that there's so many different styles all over the world. Getting to work that European style, the Japanese style, the Lucha Libre. Where else you get to find all that? Much, and you get to learn so much. Harv,
I got to learn a lot. My time there, I got to spend actually quite a bit of time with Regal and just listening to him, learning from him. That was
only 4 days that we were down there.
Yeah, right? Imagine if you were down there, all year. You could really transform your game down there.
It lets you know how fortunate those guys that are in the performance center.
It's the state of the art.
It's truly
everything.
How was it when you guys walked in there? What is it like?
It is surreal. You're the big WWE logo and 6 rings, and I remember just before I jumped into the WWE ring, I'm like, holy wow, I'm about to.
Have you guys worked with any of the guys that were there before? Previously in any?
Yeah, actually, Davari, Arya Davari, we worked with him in India on Ring of King. Yeah. So he was there, and
I probably think Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson.
Dukes.
Dukes. Yeah, we've worked with them in Tiger Fest.
Yeah, like it's probably pretty cool. Like, well, and they'd be like, "Hey," it's like, "Whoa!" Like,
it was like camaraderie. Like, you're seeing old buddies. Like, that's the cool thing about the wrestling business is like Tyson. We met once in Toronto years ago, but as soon as we saw him, it was like hugs and and like slaps on the back. It's like. That's the cool
mostly we're repping Canada too, the three of you, right?
Well, I mean, we were really blessed the fact that the three of us, including Tyson, we were the only ones from Canada. Right?
And we're talking about the Cruiserweight Classic. I mean, just we think about 32 people were selected from the entire world, and to be mentioned within that 32, that on the basis of that alone is a huge feat. To think that WWE sat there in a boardroom meeting and they went through hundreds and hundreds of wrestlers and. Hey, these two kids from Burnaby, BC. Yeah, let's give them a shot. Again, no matter what happens, no one can take that away. And that's true. A huge compliment, to whatever.
So many of us dream about it, and we were fortunate and blessed and lucky enough to have this opportunity.
Like I think, from my perception, like that might have been the moment where it just, there's so many times in your career where it must become real to you, but then at that point, it's like. There's always something that happens that keeps you going.
And that's a big one. Speaking of that, I mean, a lot of people one thing for us is we're a really close family. Yeah. Even though majority of our family lives in India, we're really close to our grandfather. Yeah. And we get emotional talking about him because it's he's 90 plus. Yeah. Oh. And
good for him.
And he's in Punjab, India. Yeah. And I remember when we first started talking. I'm getting goosebumps talking about him right now. And I remember when we first started wrestling 11 years ago, he had actually come down to Canada. He was living with us for a while, and most people in India, they don't know anything else besides WWE. Yeah, right. For sure. For them, that's all. Or even wrestling is just. Yeah, but for them, when we say we're gonna go wrestle, they think WWE. Yeah. But they don't understand that there's more to it. So for the last 11 years, our grandfather, every time we talk to him on the phone, he'll ask us in Punjabi, are you guys wrestling in the U.S.? Are you guys wrestling in the U.S.? U.S. meaning WWE. And it was a really emotional and amazing moment for us to finally call him and let him know that, hey, the promotion that you've always wanted us to wrestle for, we're finally getting a chance to do it. So that was I would say one of the most motivating factors, and just that, and
I think just on the basis of having hope, every few years something would happen for us. Yeah. I always thought every 6 months I wanted to do something.
Something needs to happen.
Something needs to happen where it gives me hope. Yeah. And so whether it be a tour or getting flown.
That the hard work kind of pays off. Yeah. And you have to start working hard again.
Right. It might be media coverage. Something every 6 months. I always aim for 6 month mark where it's and I kind of look back on my career. It's every 6 months it's you can kind of pinpoint something happened. Yeah. Where it's okay, keep going.
Something that you said gives you hope.
And it's hope. You can survive on hope.
And on that point also, it's I don't think a lot of people I can't even say I know because I don't know, but I don't think a lot of people know trying to succeed in this business when because we're all normal, we're human beings, we're all the same, we all feel the same thing. To trying to succeed in this business and then having a family and friends and having to sacrifice. Yeah, you guys must have sacrificed a lot. Times everyone wants to go party and go to Vegas. Yeah. You got to sacrifice all that. You got to cut all that. I'm no, I got to do this. I got to go to the gym. I got to be awake at this time. I need to be at this show in this side of town. This is an opportunity for me. And to not let down your family, not let down your grandpa who he's waiting. You appreciate the fact that he's still here to be able to see this, right? That's
and it's
crazy.
Funny you say that, sacrifices and all that. I mean, me and Harv were just talking about this earlier today when you got here. Before you got here, back when we first started 10 years ago, we, certain people around our family would be these guys, in Punjabi, they're in WWE, Jana. But they had that sarcasm in their voice, and we'd hear it, we were don't worry, it'll happen, right? And or don't worry, we'll continue pursuing our dream. But sacrifices for sure, training. I mean, every morning, Harv and I are up at 7 a.m. to go train at 8 o'clock to do our strength conditioning. Yeah. Then in the evening, we go and do our weight training. And then, all that in between, everything.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could probably count on one hand how many times I've ever been to a club that's twice.
Exactly. And you got to make still being, still staying committed to, you have to be committed to. And
Our 20s is an age where you're going out, having fun. For us 20s, we were sleeping on gym mats in northern Manitoba, eating cans of tuna. We don't have those same memories as most of our, buddies have these college parties or whatever. We don't, where it's sleeping in a Ryder truck in the Maritimes, and it's these totally different experiences, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
And I feel like that's a side that people don't really like. You will hear the story one off here, and now like you hear you guys talk about it on like the Cruiserweight Classic bracketology. You hear TJ Perkins, but no one really actually like.
People don't realize
they can't they can't some people that might be able to relate, but they don't, and then they just get back to the wrestling. But like, there's a lot that goes into it just to even get as far as you guys have gotten. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, I mean. Yeah, so we've done a lot of hard work to get to where we are, but in reality, the hard work actually begins now to like maintain in this spot. You know, what like Harv was saying. Now we have to, you know, what's the next, the future? We got to,
because these last couple of years, like I've seen you guys on the randomest places. And I'm like, this is great. Mostly also being too up in it Monday. You know, you're like I'm Punjabi too, so like I'm a second line. Get it. I'm like this is because most of the time you see. The Indian wrestlers kind of get stereotyped and like this and that, and you guys embraced being Indian.
We're kind of the first mainstream.
You embraced it. You made it your own style in your own way, and you guys are killing it. You know, and
well, speaking of Edge, and one thing he told us, and here's another. I remember him saying this. He's like, it's one thing to make it to the WWE, but it's actually harder to stay there.
Yeah.
And when you actually put that in perspective, a lot of guys get signed.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys get there.
Everyone gets the opportunity.
How many guys actually
you got to even put in
make money there? And like,
if we thought we were working hard before, now we got
When you guys left from Orlando, did you guys get left with anything like any words, anything from anyone, anything encouragement to?
You know, great. We got some good feedback from.
Yeah, feedback. That's a word.
You know, you ran the podcast.
Yeah.
No, we got feedback from our agents, from the office.
Everybody was obviously can't really go into the specifics.
Oh no, for sure. That's what I mean. Like, I know you guys can't go into too much detail.
I
just want to note before we move on about this feedback thing. I saw you guys. I think the Saturday before you guys left in Poco. You guys didn't say a word. So like, And then one day I was sitting there, I'm watching, like,
I saw these guys.
I saw the participants with I wouldn't know. I'm just saying, you can trust me. I wouldn't say anything. But I saw like I've been told things that I got lucky enough to be told before too. But I'm like, I saw the participants. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I just saw these guys didn't even mention it.
The only people that knew were our parents.
No, for sure.
Family.
No, totally understandable. I just thought it was funny. I'm like, I literally just saw these guys. Like, we sat there with me and my buddy Paul that comes with me to all the shows. I'm like, we were literally just talking to you guys about
you don't know
dances and stuff.
Well, that and just you don't want to hype anything up that.
You don't know for sure. No, I totally understand. I thought it was funny.
The funny thing is, Monday WWE announced it. Anyways.
Yeah.
So
that was the funniest part. I'm like, I think was it Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday was the show.
And then Monday and I'm like, I literally just saw you guys like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But
no, we had to bite our tongues hard.
No, that's totally fine. No, it's cool. So feedback before you guys left. Like, you don't have to go into detail, but like, was there anything that like?
No, I mean, at that level, one thing I realized, they tell it like it is. Nobody's got time to waste. Nobody's got time to, blow smoke up your ass or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
If they don't like something, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
By all accounts, they're really happy with everything that, my brother and I did. So, I mean, on that level, hey, man, as long as the people paying you are happy.
The way I summarize the whole experience is that when we got back on the plane to come back to Canada, there was no, like, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
There was absolutely no regrets. Yeah. I can't think... We left no stone unturned.
Yeah.
Like everything that we could have possibly done. They talk about maximizing your moment and your time, your minutes. That's exactly what we did.
Like, and there was an interview with you guys with Kathy Kelly, which I really enjoyed,
blew up.
Which is also really weird because there was a time where Kathy Kelly she was on AfterBuzz doing those podcasts after Raw and stuff, and I had the opportunity to talk to her a couple of times just about things, and then like I know you two, and I've talked to you guys obviously a bunch of times at the shows and stuff. I'm like, that's so weird to me. Yeah. Like you guys are like there's that WWE logo right behind you guys.
Yeah,
she told me that's how what she's always wanted to do. Like she's mentioned that to me back like probably like a couple of years ago when I first started my page and stuff, and she followed for a bit, and obviously I know your guys' aspirations and your ambitions as writers, and
Tupac.
You guys love Tupac, right?
Oh, no,
let's talk about that for a second. Actually, that means my whole point was it's cool seeing you three there because I talk all three of you, but
let Gurv Sihra take over.
Because I love Tupac too. I have like a Tupac poster in my room. He's on my
you don't know Tupac.
You guys,
I know Tupac.
But you guys were alive, like
this guy.
Okay, because I was young.
I've been talking. Oh man, like Tupac and I go way back. Like I went to high school in the 90s.
Exactly. See, I was young. My brother went to high school in the 90s. He's 10 years older than me, right?
So I went to high school in the 90s.
Drop down on me.
My cousin introduced me to Tupac.
Yeah.
The very first song I ever heard was, I think it was So Many Tears.
Okay, yeah.
That was Do for Love, wasn't it?
So Many Tears on when Much Music actually played hip hop music.
Rhapsody?
Yeah, when they had Rhapsody.
Rhapsody.
Yeah, and man, the very first time I listened to Tupac, and it's people don't understand. Tupac, okay, if you listen to his music, what got me behind Pac was more of his story, his like you said, his ambition.
Yeah.
He came from nothing and became something.
Yeah.
And it was always that message that if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Right? And just his story, his motivation. People think, Tupac was a gangster rapper.
The perception of him is so bad.
It's not even true. Pac was intelligent.
Yeah,
he was.
The guy was an artist. I read his books. I watched. I was a big in high school. And I still love his music. I was listening to this, but in high school, I was growing in Surrey. Tupac was the man.
The man.
So once again, in your time, he must have been even more of the man because by my time he was already dead. Yeah. But I have an older brother. I have an older sister too, and I know the music and I grew up on it and And that's the thing.
His message. Bottom line, his message. His listen. People just bop their head to music. Yeah. You listen to what he's saying. Read his poetry. Know the person. That's what I'm saying. That's the two different senses. Some people know Tupac as a rapper and the stuff he got accused for and did that. But if you look into Tupac, you'll see that this guy was an artist. His message was unbelievable. His message was always about believing in your dreams, never giving up,
and making a difference, trying to make a difference by being different yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Being the oppressed. Yeah. And overcoming the oppressor. Yeah. So yeah, man, Tupac. I've been collecting his memorabilia for 20 years. My old roommate.
You ever make a heel turn and knock this guy with a super kick? You walk out there with ambitions of a rider, right?
Well, actually, no. Let me tell you this story real quickly. My very first theme song was All Eyes on Me.
Oh, dope, yeah.
In Pain Asylum. Yeah. Asked the guys at ECCW how many Tupac songs I went through in my first year. It went from All Eyes on Me was my very first debut song to Ambitions of the Rider. For some reason, to America's Most Wanted. And then finally, I'm
that's the thing with the Tupac songs, you'll always find either, maybe it's a whole song, but you'll always find, a lyric or something you relate to, and you're like, this is my jam, this is my jam.
Brenda's Got a Baby also?
No, until the end of time.
Okay, that's one of my favorites, I love Until the End of Time.
I never used that one. I can confirm that.
Everybody comes out, he's like a chick manager, she's got a pillow in her stomach.
It's my Brenda, guys. No, but never use that until
the end of time. Talk about storytelling in wrestling.
Talk about a gimmick, right?
Wait, no, I've been collecting Tupac merchandise out there, so if anybody's listening out there got Pac memorabilia that I may not have or own, holla at your boy.
Sounds good. So if you have any Tupac merchandise that you want to get rid of.
Yeah, because right now I got everything, but hey,
Harv Sihra wants
an autograph or something. No, man. Yeah.
I could probably get you a painting from some guy. But that's a long story. Anyways, that's a different story for a different time. So Tupac, yeah.
So so my first theme song was All Eyes on Me, and if you listen to read one of the Rock's stories, his first theme song in '95 he came out to was All Eyes on Me as well.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, how about the movie? You excited for the movie?
I'm very excited
because I watched obviously Notorious is okay.
NWA
Straight Outta Compton was great. Yeah. And it's the same directors, right?
Yeah. No, actually, I think it's a different production.
Is it?
I think so.
I hope they do good though, man.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
The trailer I've seen so far, it looks good.
Me saying it sounds very underwhelming compared to you saying it now, but this movie's probably very close to you. If they mess up something, you'll be like,
oh yeah,
come on, dude.
It's funny though. Everything that most of the Pac's releases, all the stuff that he's ever put out, all was pretty much released in November. A lot of the stuff, number 13. I feel like there's a spiritual connection.
Are you guys both born in November too?
Yeah.
Same here. Okay.
There you go, Scorpio.
Scorpio. Yeah.
And another cool thing, Harv and I are the first Canadian brothers since Brett and Owen to
wrestle in the WWE, right?
Yeah,
work in the WWE. Brett and Owen, how much are they as brothers from Canada? They must have been influences for you. That period of time was Shawn Michaels, Heart Foundation.
Well, I think straight up, I think if there's one guy that influenced us the most, is Brett.
Yeah.
Hands down, Bret Hart was our guy.
You had one. Did you guys have a conversation with Brett before? I believe you quoted something from him recently on Instagram.
It was in Las Vegas. Again, I'll be very honest. Brett was my hero as a kid.
For sure. Same here. Yeah.
Yeah, he was my role model. This is before I ever wanted to.
I remember walking around at school with my fingers in my little my jean little they put the belt tape. They call it these pajamas. Walking around like this Bret Hart because he was a man.
I got this video where it's I'm walking out and I'm doing the Bret Hart theme song with the WWF.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But I remember, we came. This was Las Vegas, and I walked up to Brett, and my exact words were like, you were my inspiration to get into wrestling. What's the best advice you can give me? And his exact answer was, I'll give you the same advice that Pedro Morales gave me when I was starting out. And that was, you can't hold back true talent.
Yeah.
And I just remember that. I'm like, wow, like, if you're talented, eventually, by hook or crook, you will make it. You just keep grinding it out, keep doing the tours, keep plugging away, and being honest to your dreams, right? Staying in shape, sending out packages. Again, me and my brother, one thing, we've been proactive about our dreams. Like we never it's so far fetched, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We've been sending in packages since 2007, 2006, and so.
Oh, trust me, I know. Like in a lower extent, like I know what you mean. Like with everything what I do, everyone's like, "Oh man, you're just an Instagram page." I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna keep trying to grow this as a brand and see what happens. And I'm just gonna keep. I'm not believing what I think. For me, like,
if you don't believe it, nobody else.
Exactly. And I've said that when I'm like, if I don't believe in myself, then everyone else will stop believing me too. And like, for me, I want to work for the WWE in like some sort of like writing capacity or something in that sense.
Yeah.
And I think I can do it. And then the same thing happens to me. That's why I'm like, every time I start thinking like, oh, this is just an Instagram page, I'm just posting shit and I'm wasting my time. Yeah. Something happens. Like The Rock will comment, or this will happen, or someone will approach me and be like, hey, you're this good. I'm like, okay, so obviously there's something here. Yeah. So, like, you know what I mean? So I get that. As for right now in the wrestling world, right, it's very vast. There's a lot of popularity. If you could have a dream match right now with anyone wrestling today, and then would you want if people wrestling before? If anyone wrestling today, who would you want to wrestle?
In a tag team setting?
Tag team or singles?
Tag team, I would say. Go ahead, Harv.
Tag team. There's a few good teams out there. I feel like we would have a real good match against the Revival.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it would just be... Because it's, again, like, we grew up on the early 90s.
You guys have that technical aspect.
And we could be like... It would be like the Midnight Rockers versus Tully and Arn. Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
Just go. We could have really good matches with those guys.
I could see that. How about singles with anyone right now?
And obviously, going back to tag team.
Oh.
From our, obviously, just from a bias standpoint, because we grew up watching the Hart Foundation.
Oh, I thought we were
that would be dope. Yeah, for a legendary tag team. Yeah, for a legendary tag team, the Hart Foundation.
Yeah, and Demolition, because we can just sell for them. That'd be great.
That's true. And then I guess singles wrestlers, past and present. I guess.
Just timing is weird. 10 years ago, I had my very first match against Kyle O'Reilly.
How was that? He's doing great, eh?
Right.
I saw him in Dallas at the Ring of Honor show I went to.
Yeah. So I think it was just
killed it, Adam Cole. Yeah,
it'd be kind of cool to wrestle him 10 years later, just to kind of see, So right now, I'd pick Kyle. He's a good friend, and I think he's probably one of the best wrestlers out there.
For sure,
if not the best.
Yeah, if not the best. Yeah, so I'd pick Kyle.
Gurv?
Currently, man, there's so many good ones out there right now.
Right, that's what I mean. Like there's a lot.
I wrestle you, Justin. Does that make you feel better?
I'm down. Let's do this.
Yeah, I
can bump for you guys, don't I?
I mean,
I'll make it look real.
Currently, like, a guy like Kevin Owens.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Yeah. He brings that badass straight.
He's like for people that didn't know Kevin Owens as Kevin Steen, they just knew him as he came into the NXT and WWE and stuff. Like, I think he shocks those people with the agility and the things that he can do that they don't expect.
Yeah. At the same time, I think he's an actual heel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I call him Mr. Entertainment for a reason. Like, there's a lot of times I'm watching Raw and like he wakes me up sometimes. So I'm like, that was the funniest thing ever. Like, you know?
So there's little things that he does that you're like, that's what a heel should be.
Yeah.
Doing. So I mean, I would say Kevin Owens just because like I say, he brings that smash mouth, hard ass kicking style.
No, for sure. ECCW, you guys have Ballroom Brawl coming up. You guys are facing off against the Cunninghams. What's up with that? What's going on?
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be an exciting night of wrestling. It's gonna be our first match since the CWC, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and with that story, with that match, I mean, you got the Natural in between.
So what's going on with the Natural? For like, now this is for the people that live in the area that come to the RCC and the shows and stuff. Like, some fishy stuff going on.
I don't know about.
He's showing up out there.
I mean. Word on the street.
Oh, the Bollywood Boyz turning.
Word on the street is that the Natural has been scouting us. However, you know what? We don't need anybody scouting us. We take care of our own business. Again, if the Natural gets in our way, he's gonna get a double super kick. Cunninghams are gonna get the samosa super kick and a nod to the face. Whatever else Harv and I are gonna bring that night.
I don't know if the Natural needs any more butter chicken.
We might just throw in the pakora.
Just joking. Yeah, but
no, we're excited. It's gonna be another sold out.
What does the Barroom Brawl mean to ECCW?
It's basically the WrestleMania.
It is, right?
SummerSlam, and it's
it's already sold out from.
We take great pride in it because there's been 6 shows and 6
sold out. I think ECCW means a lot to us.
Yeah.
A few years ago,
stomping grounds.
We felt like we kind of, really took off with the RCC and like helped build the company from the. Really what it is today.
Yeah.
I think there was a few of us. There were the core group of guys that really got ECCW really hot locally. And, hey, think about, like, the biggest musical acts ever have performed at the Commodore Ballroom.
Yeah.
And on top of that, this local indie company is selling it out. I don't think there's a lot of indie companies in the world that can say they sell out a major musical venue.
Yeah.
And so...
And, like, the heart of, like, Vancouver.
Yeah,
like,
the greatest thing about the whole event.
Like, if you live in BC, like, the northern up you go, there's a lot of nice lakes and, like, those little towns and stuff. But, like, the lower mainland is where most of the action happens. This is where the Canucks play. This is where some of the biggest concerts happen. This is like...
That's like most indie wrestling's on the outskirts.
The way I sell Commodore to people or tell people about Commodore is that if you haven't watched an indie wrestling show and it's your first time watching it, this is the show you want.
Because it doesn't look like indie wrestling. It doesn't.
And the beauty about the whole show is that from the beginning, right, as soon as Scotty Sweatervest gets into the ring to the very final bell, the crowd is loud.
And you guys got some loyal fans, man. There's some like loyal, like ever since I've been coming there, like I've been trying to get out to every show, like almost every show, like you guys have now, and just the familiar faces and it just. They love it, like
it's
and
weird.
The kids, holy smokes, the kids, they love it, and that's what it's all about. Right?
Sometimes you can make your entrance and you'll be nowhere anybody's. Some people are sitting for sure.
Like you can be a bad guy, and sometimes you just have to crack a smile because you're like, oh, it's this guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
ECCW, they put on the best shows at the Commodore. I mean,
I think it's one of the best indie companies in all of North America.
Oh, for sure. Even when I came to my first Poco show in a long time, what it was that week before you guys went to Orlando, like smaller venue. Probably like not those many people, probably like 100 tops or something, and still quality show.
Yeah,
enjoyed every second of it, right? And you took it out to a different side of town, so those people in like Coquitlam can enjoy it as much as the people that enjoy it in Vancouver.
No, we bring the same no matter if there's 10 people in the
and that's what you have to do, right? And that's So out of this probably tons more we can talk about, but there was something I wanted to ask. This is what happens.
Your Tim Hortons coffee's getting cold.
Yeah, it's turning to nice coffee, I know.
Well, we should do this again, man.
We'll definitely do this again. I appreciate you guys wearing your Wrestling Classic shirts.
Yeah, man.
Maybe I'll record something really quickly and just throw it on Instagram to pump up that this is happening. But, totally. I appreciate you guys doing this. We'll obviously do it again. If you are in the lower mainland Vancouver area, even if you're in Seattle, come up for the Commodore Ballroom. I don't know if tickets are sold out. Double check on Ticketmaster.
Even if you're in India. Come out to the ballroom.
Anywhere in the world, come out to Ballroom Brawl. It's at the Commodore Ballroom in Vancouver on July 16th.
Yes, sir.
Is that the day before the Cruiserweight Classic airs?
No, the Cruiserweight Classic airs on the 13th of July. So
okay.
3 nights before.
So there you go. So if you want,
it's gonna be a busy
double
summer.
dose, second plate of butter chicken, you can watch the Cruiserweight Classic and then watch the Commodore Ballroom, and then
yes, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We'll definitely do this again.
And we should plug that we are gonna have brand new shirts.
Yes, brand new
Bollywood Boyz shirts are gonna be available at the Commodore Ballroom. Justin, you know what to do about that, brother.
I will, for sure. And the other thing I was gonna say was you obviously should plug yourselves on your Instagrams and stuff. Yeah. So Gurv, Harv.
Instagram is at Bollywood Boyz with a Z.
Yeah.
And that's Twitter.
That's Twitter.
That's Twitter.
Whoa.
And then Instagram is hey, you're gonna tag us in there.
I'll tag it. So HV
Harv Sihra.
Honestly, there's nothing but big things coming for both of you guys, man. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to let me sit with you and have the conversation. You guys and hanging out, right?
To all the fans,
it's an honor to meet you, right? Like.
To all the fans out there listening, thank you for all your support over the years. We appreciate it. And Harv's over here sneezing but speaking on his behalf as well when I say thank you. And we're humble and grateful for everything you guys do for us.
I think we should wrap it up.
There you go.
Ooh, yeah, dig it.
Oh, my